That means it's a school, so we're all going to participate. Can you get our Bibles ready? Because I'm going to ask you to help me with the verse readings. Okay. Our theme is hope for troubled times. Hope for troubled times. When I was given this topic, or this theme rather, by the superintendent, I said, oh wow, what an appropriate theme for the times. Okay, I'm going to base my talk from the book Hope for Troubled Times by Mark Finley. For those of us that know the book or don't read, those that haven't, it's a good book that is really encouraging and anybody can relate. You can even ask your friends to get it. You can get a soft copy online or you can download a soft copy and share. It's really appropriate for the times. Okay, so nowadays we see that we're just overwhelmed and there's a lot of anxiety because of this pandemic that we have. There's so much fear, there's so much worry, and you know what? This fast-moving virus has managed to ravage country after country. You know, some of us, we have this bucket list to say, hey, Lord, if you give me life, I'd want to go to this place and to this place, this country and this country. You know what? The virus has visited all those places that you have been because it's been moving very fast. And it has totally changed our way of life. We remember that there was a time, or there are times that we still have to lock down, and you find even international borders are closed. Schools are closed. We cannot even come here to church if we gather as a maximum of 10 people. It's a lot of people, and and this is just being caused by that same virus at its peak. And when this happens, what has been happening to us? A lot of fear. A lot of fear has been filling the minds of almost everybody. And fear is quite a strong emotion, and it cannot be separated from anxiety. It cannot be separated from worry. That's how bad this emotion is. And it is caused by a threat which is unavoidable. That's what causes fear. A threat, whether it's a situation, a condition, whatever it is, that is unavoidable. That's when we are filled with fear. I'm going to tell you a story. And this story, okay, I'm just going to read that part of the story. It's from the same book that I spoke about, Hope for Troubled Times. Okay, it says that in ancient legends, a peasant man driving one day to Constantinople was stopped by an old woman who asked him for a ride. He took her up beside him, and as they drove along, he looked at her, became frightened, and asked, "Who are you?" The old woman replied, "I am cholera." Frightened, the peasant ordered the old woman to get down and walk, but she persuaded him to take her along. Upon her promise that she would not kill more than 5 people in Constantinople, as a pledge of the promise, she handed him a dagger, and saying to him it was the only weapon with which she could be killed. Then she added, "I shall meet you in 2 days. If I break my promise, I break my promise, you may stab me. In Constantinople, guess how many people died? 120 people died of cholera. The enraged man who had driven her into the city searched for her. When he found her, he raised the dagger that she had given him to kill her. He shouted, "You promised that you would not kill more than 5 people, and 100 people have died." But she stopped him, saying, "I have kept my agreement. I killed only 5. Fear killed the others." This legend is a true parable of life. Disease has indeed killed thousands of people. The coronavirus has killed thousands of people. But you know what? More have died because they've been overwhelmed by fear and not necessarily by the disease. When we look to the future with fear, expecting the worst rather than with confidence, expecting the best, we become crippled with anxiety and we are paralyzed with worry. And from the time we are born until we die, fear often casts its dark shadow upon our lives. Fear crushes our spirits, breaks down our immune systems, and weakens our will, and renders us powerless in battle with the enemy. Fear strangles our joy and destroys our dreams. We're going to have a song and then I'll continue. In a hopeless world, who can we turn to? Where is our refuge? There is someone is the answer, is the light of the highway. His name is Jesus. His name is Savior. He is the light, 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 light of the world. Shine, shine, shine. All of the earth shine bright, bright, bright. He is the light of the world. He is the light, 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 light of the world. Shine, shine, shine. All of the earth shine bright, bright, bright. He is the light of the world. If we listen to the song, it was talking about Jesus being the light and the hope of the world. You know, people are searching for answers right now to say, in all this, where is God? Where is He? If God is really there, where is He? Okay, let us turn to the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 31. And then I'll ask someone else to open Matthew 14, from verse 24 to 27. And then Romans chapter 15, verse 4.
Genesis 1:21.
Yes.
Then God saw everything that He had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the 6th day.
Everything. When God had finished making everything, He said it was good. That means everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. What happened? There was a fallen being that came, Lucifer, and he introduced sin into this world. When sin came into this world, that's when things changed. The goodness that God had left when He made this world was utterly destroyed by sin. Okay, Matthew chapter 14, verse 24 to 27.
Matthew 14, 24 to 27.
Yes.
But the sheep was now in the midst of waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid.
Be of good cheer and don't be afraid. After this, we see God asking, Jesus asking Peter to say, come. He bid him come. Here is a test to Peter, who is filled with so much fear together with the rest of the disciples. He says, be of good cheer and don't be afraid. And Peter answered to him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. You are saying this out of fear. So Jesus says to him, come. You know, even during these pandemic times, in as much as we are filled with so much fear, Jesus still bids us, come. Come. Why? Because He is our hope. He is the light in this hopeless world. And He says, and when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to Jesus. But when he saw the wind he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink out, cried out, saying, Lord, save me. We see him there because he was filled with fear. He had begun to walk. When he picked up his faith, picked up his hope, knowing that, when Jesus says something, he means it. He started walking on the water. But because the wind started becoming boisterous, it became strong. He was filled with fear and he forgot who had bid him come. And he was afraid and he started sinking. That's exactly what the devil has been doing to us. When Jesus is bidding us come during these pandemic times, the devil is bringing a lot of wind, boisterous wind in our lives. He gives us a lot of temptation. I don't know what it is that he's bringing to you, but even though it's trying to fill you with fear, Jesus is saying, come. That's where our hope is. And we also find, as people always say, or as we have read in the Bible, that the phrase "do not fear" is recorded in the Bible 365 times. That's a promise to us for each and every single day. Each and every single day, God gives you a fresh promise. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. You know what it is that is coming to fill you with fear. Is it fear of death? Is it fear of catching the virus? Is it fear of losing your job? Is it fear of you failing school? Jesus is saying, come. Don't be afraid. Okay. And then lastly, we're just going to read a verse, Romans 15, verse 4.
For whatever was written in former days was written for our instruction, thus through endurance and through the encouragement of the scriptures.
Amen. What a promise. I would want us to remember this verse as we're going through it and every day. That whatever it is that God has recorded in Bible times, when we find all those stories that we find Jesus stepping into different people's lives, were written for us so that they can be an encouragement to us today as we are living that. If God did it for all those people before, He will do it for us. He is the hope for troubled times. May the Lord bless the reading of His word. Amen.